Oh, sequels freak me out. Will Blade Runner 2049 fall victim to the same over-the-top revamp most sequels have experienced? Will the incredibly complex, nuanced ideas and themes being talked about in the first Blade Runner be pushed aside for some weird injection of today's fads of political ideologies and correctness? Or will Blade Runner 2049 be the best film of 2017? Okay, there's a lot of justifiable reasons why we should all be freaked out by sequels. One, they get pumped out all the time. Everything is a reboot, a revamp, a sequel, a prequel, anything like that. I feel like Hollywood is just churning over ideas of what's worked. Let's just do it again, throw more money, put an A-list actor in there, and boom, we'll have a big movie. And you can see the quality is fading. So when I saw this coming out, I was like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna be that great. And also, Hollywood likes to push its own political ideologies on people a lot of times, and that causes a lot of stories to crumble because it doesn't make sense in the world that it's been created in. Alright, so let's get into some fun facts about Blade Runner 2049. Opening weekend, it grossed about $37 million. This movie is still in theaters right now. It was made for over $150 million, so it's not looking that great so far. But this is not surprising because the first movie also didn't make a lot of money when it started. Now, this movie was not directed by Ridley Scott, the original director of the Blade Runner movie. This movie is directed by Denis Villeneuve, who is one of the best filmmakers of this new generation. Terrific director, great projects. I highly suggest you watch his movies. Whew, okay, now that we got that out of the way, I've got to tell you, Blade Runner 2049, I think, in my opinion, is the best film of 2017. I really mean that, and I can't believe I'm saying that about something that is technically a sequel. Very rare. But the reason why this worked, the reason why this sequel works, taken from the original, is because it's not a revamp of it. It takes the themes of the original Blade Runner, continues the same tones and big ideas and greater themes of the movie for these characters to wrestle with, and just continues it in a different version of the story. I was really afraid that they were going to try to inject some very now themes, some very fad themes of like feminism, the patriarchy, or something like that into the movie to try to make a statement. And this movie does not make a statement on those themes. It makes a statement on choice and love, which is something that's universal that we all can relate to and we all struggle with on an almost daily basis. And let me tell you why it's so important they focus on themes that are so universal. Characters are something that are like Nolan said, a very powerful tool to tell the story, but they're also incredibly fragile things. One of the hardest things to do as a filmmaker, as a writer, is to get you to care and believe each one of the characters, and that's a lot of things coming together. It's the performance, it's the writing, it's the directing, everything. For an audience member to sit there and in 15 minutes somehow suspend their belief that this person is fake and actually believe they're real for a minute and appreciate them and follow them and care about them and relate to them. It's a very fragile thing to create that, and it's so easily broken, which happens when people are trying to make points throughout the movie that don't make sense, or characters doing things that don't make sense to them, or them trying to make some grandiose statement that is not in line with the story and their motivation. And then it breaks that mold. We immediately check out of the movie like, oh my gosh, they're just doing that again. Hollywood's trying to make that statement, or they're just trying to make a point here. They're trying to insert this character for no reason except to make some political point. Thank God they did not do that with this movie. And they still took heat for this. And there's an article in Digital Spy where the writers were complaining that there weren't enough female writers on the movie and there was no female directors giving input. So thus, there's no way it could be an accurate portrayal of what that would be like as a girl somehow. Also, they said, and I quote, "Is Blade Runner 2049 envisioning a world in which powerful human men are trying to erase human women entirely?" Anyway, like I said, thank God they didn't try. Let me give you my critic review of the movie. Like I said, I think this is the best movie of 2017, so I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 as a film as well. Technically speaking, this was just unbelievable to look at. Every shot is also completely stunning and unbelievable. The lighting, the way everything is, the camera moves, the practical effects throughout the movie, it's just absolutely incredible to watch this. The music and score, just like the original, is fantastic. And I want to go into the director more, but I want to also get to the things that I think are even better than the directing in this movie, and that are some of the performances. Obviously, I think this is one of Ryan Gosling's best performances today. Harrison Ford does an incredible job of showing a range of emotions pulling from the original movie that if you watch the original, you can appreciate all those small moments throughout this one. I gotta give a good shout out to one of my favorite characters in the movie, and that is Joey. played by Buena de Armas. Kind of like the girlfriend of Ryan Gosling in the movie. She is just unbelievable to watch. She makes this one scene where she comes out in the rain for the first time and you can just feel everything going on. What's also great critically about this movie is the script itself. The themes are big and grand and they're not superficial or surface. It's love and choice is something that is so ingrained in everyone that we all struggle with, and they do a great job of showing this arc throughout the whole movie, these characters all struggling with the same thing. So that brings me to my viewer. This movie actually is going to score better than the original as a viewer. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. One of the reasons for that is the relationship throughout it. Obviously the theme of this one is love, and that's something that everyone can grasp onto. A lot of people will go see a movie even though it may be a bad movie, just because you want to see these two people have some romantic relationship together. And one of the reasons I think it's great as a movie, even though it is an R and it checks some of the boxes, I guess, that, you know, there's nudity, there's blood, there's death, whatever, so we're going to give it an R. It does not use those to distract from the lack of story and characters going on screen. I think the best example of this is the romance on screen. Joey in the movie is just, and Ryan Gosling are just mesmerizing to watch. Ryan Gosling is a replicant. He doesn't have choice when it comes to people, but with an iOS, a computer system, he does. And there's this iOS system that is like a hologram, and they have this beautiful kind of interesting relationship on camera I'd never seen before. Let's get into some faith and values of Blade Runner 2049. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Slightly lower than the original, only because the ideas that it's grappling with are not quite as prominent, it's not quite as important maybe, because I think you would have to have the foundation of meaning and purpose before you even had an idea of what choice would mean or what that power actually gives, and the result of that being that you can have love and experience. Like, the greatest gift that we as human beings can give each other is love, but the first gift, the first right given to you after your breath in the Bible was choice. It's free will, and that is also the crux. It's the greatest gift and the greatest curse of humanity. You can create unlimited good because of the choices and actions that you can make and the appreciation reward that you can gain from your own choices. However, because you have free will, you can also make unbelievable evil with those exact same choices. The human beings on Earth have tried to find a way to control that by removing choice from the replicants, and as you can see, it makes them have a completely hollow and meaningless life. Without free will and choice, there can be no love. There cannot be any real decision for you. That's why if God giving us free will is so important, because love would be so meaningless if it was so forced. It would have no substance, it would have no purpose. It was just, this is what you have to do, and this is your life, and that's it. So like I said, I really like this movie from beginning to end. It was a terrific project. I hope you guys can see it in theaters and get the full experience of the sound and the great screen and the colors, so you can appreciate all the incredible art and meticulous work that went into this project. It was great. I had a really good time reviewing it, watching it. So until next time, this has been the Rebel Review, and catch you next week.